Summer is coming to an end, and you may be taking your final vacations before the kids go back to school or before the weather takes a turn for the worst. However, recent data says that some of you may be taking shorter trips than usual. Calling in from Canada this morning to talk about this trend is Heather Greenwood Davis. She's a revered travel writer and blogger. She served as a contributing editor, writer, and columnist at National Geographic. She also has a travel column in both of Canada's national newspapers. Heather, thank you so much for being here. You are the right person to talk to about this.
I think so. Great to be here.
Of course. Okay, so accounting firm Deloitte recently found that 43% of U.S. travelers are taking shorter trips. So let's first define what a shorter trip is. Is that a couple days? Is it under a week? Can you take an airplane on a shorter trip?
Absolutely. It definitely is. They're thinking about a couple of days. I think for a lot of people, it's going to turn into a long weekend, 3 or 4 days away. And really, it boils down to the fact that people are, short on time and short on cash. And so they're looking for ways to get the most out of whatever length of trip they can do. If they've got the money and the time, they're going for longer. But for people who have less time and a little less money or budgeting a little differently, they can still get a great vacation in that short period of time.
And obviously you can still have a full, fun trip on a condensed timeline. Has that been the case for you when you're traveling, maybe going on a shorter trip?
Absolutely. And, first of all, I think what people want out of a trip is they want a trip that delivers financial, emotional, experiential value. They want to feel like they've had an authentic experience of a place. They want to feel like they've had a temporary escape from their day-to-day. And so they're going to get that if they think about that ahead of booking the trip. And for me, as you mentioned, I'm here in Toronto, so I'm a Canadian, and I always recommend that Americans consider a trip here. I mean, we are just across the border, and you can get everything you need out of a trip to Canada.
Totally. I mean, from Portland, I've driven up to Vancouver, BC. Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely.
I was obsessed with it. Yeah, and I think it was just for a long weekend, as you said, and it was great. Okay.
Yeah.
So how can we make these shorter trips, really count? Should you plan your activities down to the minute, or is this more of a go with the flow sort of thing?
I think you have to a little bit of both. Because you have shorter time, you definitely want to give some thought ahead of time to exactly what you're going to do with it. But at the same time, you do not want to overpack your trip and then come back more tired than when you left. And so I think you also need to think about who you're traveling with, right? And when you're choosing a destination, for example, you mentioned Vancouver. Yeah, you can go to Vancouver, you can shop and dine and explore the major city, but you can also go visit Stanley Park. Right? Iconic Stanley Park.
I was there.
And that's right within the city. So, you're going to get that nature along with the city. So thinking about who is with you and what they need out of that short trip is going to help you create the right timeline for that.
Okay, so you're making us all want to go to Canada now for a short trip.
Good.
What other destinations would you maybe recommend for a short vacation?
Well, what I would suggest is not just thinking about where you're going, but how you're going.
Oh, okay.
So think about, how long is the flight, if you are doing a flight. Also consider things like a road trip or train travel, where part of your journey, part of your experience is going to be the journey itself. Right? So round out what you're doing with making sure that you're getting some bang for your buck on the way there.
That's a really good idea. You know what I think our either it's Amtrak or some train that we do have here. It does go from Portland all the way up to Vancouver, BC, and that's a really great idea because then you can start the vacation the second you get on that train.
That's it, exactly. And then when you're not in control, especially with something like train travel, yes, you can connect from the U.S. to Canada. You can also take the train across Canada. So you can go and see places out east like Quebec and, explore their incredible museums. You can dine in their European culture. You can go to Alberta. You can hit we have 37 national parks. So, I mean, yeah, you can totally find what you love here and then just, find your way here to do it.
Awesome. Heather Greenwood Davis, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was such a fun conversation to have. And now I'm just looking forward to going on vacation.
Come on up. Come on up.
I will. All right. Thank you. We create a lot of valuable content on ArcPDX. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your friends, point your phone's camera at the QR code on your screen. That will take you right to the ArcPDX YouTube page.